Contemplate the workings of the inner being. Your eyes are wide open, but are you really seeing? We're home.
We're home.
Oh, it feels so good to be home.
I'm saying, man, it's been a very interesting couple of weeks. My name is Ta.
My name is Cole.
We are Ta Cole, and this is the Mentor in the Mirror podcast.
And you have been a busy bee. So we had the webinar came out on Tuesday. If anyone missed it, it was awesome. You can still go download it, the transcripts, the video, all of it. Just head over to talkcole.com/racism and you can still check it out. It was really incredible. And that interview you did with Mike Dillard on the Mike Dillard podcast was fire, bro. That was so good.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm doing my best to get the word out around how racism is affecting people on a body level and how it has been embedded into people on a body level. So if you haven't checked that out, I encourage you to check it out. Again, that's talkcole.com. I think it's / racism / whatever that / is, racism. I'm trying to slash out racism, slashing prices. We're slashing everything. So
and then we just moved again.
Yeah, we just moved. Again.
We have not had a shortage of things going on, which now I'm excited to be more grounded so we can get more episodes out again because we've been going like a little over a week.
I miss y'all, man. I miss talking to my folks and getting it out there. And I do appreciate before we even get started talking about other stuff, I really appreciate all the feedback that we got from that webinar. We've had some really, really awesome feedback. People have been able to take things that they learned from the webinar and apply it to their clients, to their families, to their businesses. It's been, I put a lot of work into it, and we put a lot of work into it.
You could do it, put your back into it.
And the at the end.
Well, yeah, it's the only way that it really is effective.
Yeah. Yeah, all the work that I put into it, I was really hopeful that a few people would get something really awesome out of it. And so many people have hit me up saying that they've never considered a lot of the things that I spoke about. And so I'm grateful to have experienced all the things that I've experienced to be able to bring this to people in the context that I brought it to people. So, yeah.
Well, I don't think, and I mean, as it's been commented in the text that we've been receiving and with the interview you did on Mike Dillard's podcast that came out yesterday, so many messages of people that had never had it explained to them scientifically or physiologically how racism manifests and shows up in our physical body.
Yeah.
People hear it from more of a mental and emotional process versus the physiological elements and the genetic expression of racism that is not conscious. And that's why, it's such a valuable perspective because as we've talked about, there has been this witch hunt of white coaches against white coaches of I'm going to destroy you if I perceive you as racist. And if you don't take the anti-racism actions I believe you should, then you are a racist. And it's this, I'm out to destroy you, which for me, that's that same guilt and overcompensation that ends up crumbling this mission, right? Is like instead of coming together where we agree and helping people to understand people's nervous systems are on fire. We've been in this, everything going on with the virus and then into everything that's happened since then and then going back into lockdown and out of people's nervous systems are roasted. It's showing, man. Like it is really showing.
We've I've been doing my best to talk to as many people as I can, and that's one of the reasons that we decided to do this webinar is because getting on the phone with one person at a time and just going through this, it's a lot. So I put this together so that a lot of people could get it, and a lot of people are seeming to get it, and they're looking to lean into it a little more. And I'm definitely down to make something like that available to folks, to all my people who are running businesses, running households, friendships, being in marriages, whatever it is, just being able to see how the construct of racism affects you physiologically can also cue you into how other constructs are affecting you physiologically, be that your family structure or your relationship construct or your identity construct, your religion constructs, your nationality construct, all of these things affect your sport team fanaticism, all of this stuff affects you on a physiological basis. And if you're not aware of it, the programming just happens on, on a subconscious level, and you may not understand why you're performing the way you're doing or what it is. Having that amount of consideration to allow you in and see your body and how your body is performing on autopilot is really, really important. So
yeah, one of the ways that I've been explaining it to people, the difference between like mindset and body set, as far as like the instinctual intelligence element, is when we went out, whatever it was, 5 weeks ago or 2 months ago now, maybe. We went out in the green belt and came across a rattlesnake, and it was in full defensive, potentially offensive position. And there wasn't an instant where my mind was considering a rattlesnake and what that means. My body took over with we need to remove ourselves with immediacy. I don't have any experience with a rattlesnake, and there's no way that I could mind my way out of that reaction. That was a body programmed reaction. And it's such a fascinating thing because I could have done all the mindset work in the world as far as like, I have no fear of snakes, right? The second I heard that rattle, all consciousness was cut off. And it was, I need to get away from here. That is the instinctual body set. That is the body intelligence that has these programs from, let's say, maybe television shows I watched or, National Geographic as a kid, knowing that sound is a threat.
And genetics, and from your epigenetics, totally. Passed down from your ancestors. And it's really important to keep that in mind too. Epigenetics goes back 14 generations, so we've been studying now.
Yeah, well, and there's a lot of studies in mice where they shocked the mothers in the study, and the babies who were not even born yet, the mother wasn't even pregnant yet, because they would make a sound and then they would shock the mother rat. And then when she actually had babies, they had stopped it. And even when the babies were born afterwards, if they heard that sound, their nervous system had that response as if they had been shocked. Mm-hmm. And the mother rat wasn't even pregnant when she had it. And they talk about the genetic programming.
And that's in, was it mice? That
mice or rats?
That was in those animals. Who knows what the epigenetics is like?
Well, they do have it in Holocaust survivors. They've done some studies.
Right, but I'm saying that who knows the depth of the difference. I mean, look at our consciousness, the consciousness of a mouse to a consciousness of a person. How we're able to manipulate our environment is a lot different than that of a mouse. Could you imagine how much more intricate it is for human beings with the amount of information that's passed down and through to the next generation? Is really, really important that these things are considered. And since we have the creativity that we have, mice have creativity, right? Dogs, cats, bats, they all have creativity. But we have our creativity stands out, which is why we've been able to manipulate the planet the way we have.
It is the imagination capacity that we have.
So when you consider the passed down genetic information, and then what we do with the genetic information with the level of creativity that we have is crazy, man. Like we are very complex systems, and seeing how we apply ourselves in a complicated system it's mind-boggling. It really, really is.
Speaking of complicated systems, one of the things you talk about a lot in the webinar is about shame. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about that at lunch today, is just like shame in general and how it's used as a device to get people to perform and function. Right. And the same device many white coaches are using against other white coaches, right? They're not doing things right, and so shame is used against them. There's something wrong with you. So at lunch, we were talking about the fact that I was back in the pool, or I was laying out by the pool, and you came outside and you brought me some lunch, which was super sweet. And I said, I'll come inside to eat the lunch, because it was a hot lunch and I didn't want to be out in the hot sun to eat the lunch. And if I'm going to have lunch, I'd rather have lunch with you.
What?
Exactly. So when we got inside, I wanted to shower first because I'd been all sweaty and I'd been swimming in the pool and all this stuff. And then some interesting dynamics came up for you around especially because I took longer. I wanted to go shower.
Well, I mean, I was going to eat by myself. And then I brought you food and you said you wanted to eat with me. So we came inside and then we sat down and you were like, I'll be right back. And you went into the shower and you said I'll be right back. And you came back like 20 minutes later. And, I sat there and I just listened to the dialogue that was popping up in my head. And, well, I can't say in my head, in my mind. I was hearing a lot of dialogue. And for those of you who've been listening to our podcast for a while, you know that my critic voice, the voice in the background that's always talking shit, is Priscilla. And Priscilla talks a good game. And, Priscilla was like, yeah, she's in the shower taking her time because she's trying to make it so that, your food gets cold. You should really say something in regards to it so that she feels bad. And
so that she won't do that in the future.
So that she won't do it in the future. And so I was just listening to this shit, man. And it was just like, that's really interesting dialogue. No, I'm not going to do that. And I'm not interested in doing it. And then there was also the dialogue that I didn't mention this earlier. There was also the dialogue that I shouldn't tell Cole that this dialogue's coming up because then she's going to think that you're a messed up person. So she's going to shame you. So keep it to yourself. So all of this stuff starts coming up and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, man, how many times a day does dialogue like this pop up in my head? And if it's popping up in my head, I'm sure it's popping up in other people's heads as well. And so I'm just listening to it. And there were all these scenarios of when she comes out, you're like, man, that was some real,
right
just
back,
this night. Yeah, I'll be right back. Huh? Oh yeah. Food's a little cold. Maybe I should reheat it and put it in the pan. It just, whatever it is to drive you into a place where you would be feeling bad. Yeah. And so that you wouldn't do it again. Right. And so this is something that I learned as a kid from interactions with my mom, interactions with other people, was to learn how to manipulate other people to get what I want from them so that they would, by making them feel bad. Mm-hmm. And that is the guilt and shame working together. So you're a bad person for doing that. So for taking a shower longer. And so I could have sat there and ate my food. I didn't need to wait for you. I was choosing to wait for you. So, for me being in a space where I was uncomfortable was a choice. I didn't have to be uncomfortable. We didn't predetermine that we were going to sit and eat together. This was really a quick thing. And if I'm calling myself making something for you to eat and bringing it to you to be kind and then to be a dick about it, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I mean, the complexity and the reason that we wanted to bring this up is because the complexity of all of this to make somebody feel bad, somebody that you love, that you're doing something wonderful for,
because you
to nourish their body, because you want to help them nourish their body, and you want to sit and have a nice time with them, but you should make them feel bad
for not doing it
according to your immediate
imagination,
gratification, or how things should have been.
Right.
And I see this shit in my life every single day. I don't always talk about it, but I see it in my life every day.
Yeah, and this is the classic thing that we probably do the most work with couples as well, right? Is this, how often do we hear couples talk about, well, yeah, I love them so much, but they push my buttons and make me angrier than anyone else. And there's this idea that that's how it should be, or that's like, quote unquote, normal.
Right.
And we made this decision a long time ago that we were deciding that was that's not what we wanted.
No.
And it's not from a place of like, I won't stand for it. It was from a place of mutual consideration that's not how we wanted to participate in this relationship.
That's right.
And so, from my perspective, it's like, I'm laying out by the pool. You bring me lunch, super sweet. I didn't ask for that. And it's also one thing we talk about with couples, where it's like you go to do something nice for someone, and if it's not received the way that you believe or the way you anticipate, then we get disappointed, and then it gets resentment for a gift someone didn't ask for, right? And after my first divorce, one of the things that stuck out the most to me was from Tony Robbins' program called Love and Passion. And one of the things he talks about is how with couples would say, I gave them everything. And he was like, everything except for what they wanted. So when we show up in any relationship or any dynamic, and if I want you to feel loved, I can go buy you the nicest car in the world. That's not going to mean shit to you, because that's not what's important to you.
Nope.
So for me, the things that will bring far more is to stop you in the kitchen, touch your face, kiss you? You know, like these are things that we sat and have conversations all the time. What makes you feel loved? So there's two elements, right? There's the side of, if I want to express my love, my experience of my love for you, I do it certain ways. If I want you to feel my love on your side, then I ask you what that looks like. And so being out at the pool today, for me, I had no intentions of having lunch within. I thought I'd wait another hour or so. And so I went back and forth when I first went to go take a shower, because I didn't want to be, if I just went and sat down at the table, I would be distracted by the fact that I really wanted to go shower because I was feeling all sweaty and like being in the pool. And so when I went and got in the shower, my first consideration was hurry so that, he did this nice thing for you. Don't keep him waiting. And as I sat into that, I was like, well, my intention was to shave my legs today, right? And so I could just not do that, but then I could already sense I'd be sitting at the kitchen table thinking about shaving my legs.
Well, you weren't considering me, because what if I wanted your legs fuzzy?
You're right. I did not consider that for you.
You didn't consider me at all.
I didn't.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Well, and this is a work that I've been pretty hardcore on for the last 10 years and have definitely been accused of being selfish or whatever in different dynamics as a result. The truth was, it went back to that, well, I didn't ask for this, I didn't ask to have lunch, and I appreciate it, and it's beautiful. And if he doesn't want to wait, he doesn't have to, and so it's so interesting as we came back together after I finished showering and to talk through these dynamics. It's such a fascinating thing because I can always see how people end up in those places. It's that I think our continual conversation, we have conversations immediately after or almost in real time. It's like the witnessing of the programming.
Well, that's the thing. I'm sitting here witnessing this shit. I'm listening to the dialogue. I'm seeing all of the scenarios,
like observing it,
the scenarios and the stories, and she's in there taking her time, and there was all of these things that popped up, right? Like, I'm not looking to generate this from a space of conscious creation. This shit's just popping up in my head. Like, she's in there taking her time, and maybe she's in there text messaging, and the shower's just running. All of these things were just popping up, and I'm just sitting there listening to it. I'm feeling my body start to get like heightened. Tense, yeah. It's starting to get a little, and then I'm like, no,
we're not doing that.
I'm like, no. I'm like, bro, you have a spoon. Eat your food, right? And I'm just like, and I'm feeling into it. And I could feel the dialogue start to ramp up. And then I'm just sitting there smiling and shaking my head like, nah, man, this is nonsense.
Oh, you're not pulling me into this.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not getting pulled into that shit. And so, and it's so funny because the mind space, people take these things as, my mind is the ruler and all this. The mind space is a really tricky place that consists of our own perspectives and the perspectives that we've witnessed from other people. So, and what we've been told and conditioned into.
What's happened to us.
It's not just your conscious creative space. So there's an unconscious creative space to it that is the culmination of all of existence. So I'm like, man, I'm not buying into this bullshit.
I do not describe.
I was like, I'm not going for that shit. I'm like, man, look, I want to see this woman naked. I want to kiss her. I want to do all this stuff. I'm not interested in making her feel bad. That's not why I'm in this fucking relationship.
Totally.
I'm in this relationship because I want to share great times and support you when things, when you need support, and maybe be supported if that's what you're interested in doing with me. No pressure. And so I sat there, and when you came out, you sat down, you came in, you touched my face, and you said, thank you for being so patient. And everything just vanished. Like, all of that shit, all of the dialogue, all of that stuff went away, because I knew that your intention was not to fuck with me. And even if it was, that's not my business. It's not my place. I did what I wanted. And to have sovereignty over myself is an important thing for me. And I'm looking back into all of the things that I didn't have sovereignty with, that I didn't allow myself to have sovereignty with my mom, with my sister, with my brother, with my family, with the people I've worked for, with all my friends. I did not allow myself to have sovereignty because everybody else was a priority. And that's something that I've been working on deeply, is making myself a priority. You know, with the whole thing with us in my sex life, you know, it's like making my sex life a priority for me. Mm-hmm. That's a me thing. Our relationship construct can stop me from doing that if I allow it to. Sure. You know, my ideas around relationships and all that could stop me from doing that. And then where does that leave me? That leaves me in a space where I am not satisfied, and everything outside of me satisfied. And that's what I've been programmed to do: satisfy systems, satisfy other people, satisfy the world, satisfy God, satisfy all this
Henry.
stuff, and satisfy the bill collector, mm-hmm. but never satisfy myself first, primarily. And that removes me from having a full life experience. And because I'm satisfied, it doesn't stop other people from being satisfied. Right. If you are a sovereign being and I'm here supporting you as a sovereign being, sovereign meaning you have control over your experience, you know, then what the heck am I doing? Why am I doing this shit? You know, that's not my issue if you're not sovereign. Just like it's not your issue if I'm not, unless you've offered to help. Then, you know, that's your issue now because you've chosen it to be, not because I force you into that space. So, you know, when we consider, you know, the effects of this shit on the human body and how it comes up automatically without mm-hmm. you thinking about it, you can be mad, angry, all kinds of stuff around these dynamics. And have you considered it? And this is what I'm sitting there considering. And, you know, part of the webinar on the racism situation was talking about getting into a space of, you know, after you're aware that this stuff is happening, are you considering it? I sat at the table and I was like, where did all of this shit come from? Where did these dynamics start? And when I start to explore where these dynamics started, my body starts to settle because I'm starting to unhinge myself from these things.
Well, it's that we talk about this all the time. Your body gets habitually programmed to participate unconsciously,
mm-hmm. over and over. It's a habit. It's a posture.
Which is why when someone enters the room, that let's say it's a former ex, which would obviously be a former
ex,
unless it's a next ex.
Kind of like your first divorce,
right?
How many of you had it?
Oh, that was just the first one. So, but it is that it's remembering that. Let's say you're at a restaurant and someone walks in that you have a history with. You feel it in your body, right? That fight or flight. I need to leave. I want to avoid, like whatever that is. And that isn't something you may have consciously thought about for 10 years. But the second you see them, your body is already experiencing all of its feelings around that person without even having a conscious thought besides get me out of here.
Yeah, and it could be that person or somebody who reminds you of that person. A tone that reminds you, a tonal quality, like a smell, a haircut, a color that they're wearing, mm-hmm. a hairstyle, anything like that can trigger you subconsciously.
Well, and it is happening subconsciously mm-hmm. all the time. And that's why until we expand the awareness of what's going on in our body, that it's noticing the heightened state, we don't have to know exactly what's doing it, but recognizing that it is. Mm-hmm. Recognizing, oh, there was a change in the force, right? Like something just shifted, whether it's my mood or a sensation.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And, you know, this is, I just want to let y'all know, all my people who out here listening, our mentor in the mirror family, I'm doing my work. Mm-hmm. I'm always doing my work. And my work is not labor. I love the exploration that I have, the unraveling of all this stuff. I am intrigued by myself and everyone around me. And it always starts for me in that one specific place. And that's the mirror. I ask myself questions in the mirror every single day of my life. What am I doing this for? I don't have to be standing in front of a physical mirror to actually to reflect on myself. Mm-hmm. And this is something that you can do anytime when you're feeling away and you don't understand why you're feeling that way. You can figure it out. But you've got to give yourself the space and the time, and you've got to give you you have to be a priority. And
also not waiting for it to be convenient, because that's the other thing people do is like, I don't have time for this right now.
No, you do have time. Make the time.
You don't have time to wait.
You don't. And this is the thing, man. You know, you are important. You are important. And until you can see that you're important, nobody else will lean into you the way you do, unless it's me, maybe, because I lean into people. I love people. But I'm saying, you know, you've got to lean into yourself.
But even if you can lean into someone all the way, if they're not showing up for that for themselves, it doesn't make any difference in the experience.
It doesn't make any difference at all.
It feels nice, sort of.
Sort of, kind of, a little bit. So, you know, that was my ankle. Did you hear that?
I did.
Oh, that was my ankle just popped. I think it's off.
I was gonna say, did it?
Can you get some glue? Get some glue or get some paste. Get the Elmer's glue paste.
Staple gun.
School glue. Staple gun.
Yeah, let's fix this shit, man.
Or maybe
You're talking about glue.
Or maybe I will staple it to you.
With the pizza with bullets on it.
Oh, come on.
Anyone that hasn't seen Arnold's Pizza Shop on YouTube,
Arnie's Pizza Shop, it's absolutely hysterical.
Absurd.
It's one of my favorite things in the world. Arnie's Pizza Shop.
What is broccoli anyway?
Shut up with the broccoli. If you want something crazy like pineapple, I'll kill you. Shout out to DJ Polarity. Oh, we scream out on Arnold Schwarzenegger all the time. It's awesome. Anyway. We hope that you feel connected to this stuff. Mm-hmm. We feel very connected. Thanks for your patience. We will definitely be putting up more episodes and talking more about the things that are going on with us in the world and how you can expand yourself, bring yourself into a space of greater awareness so that you have consideration, so that we can bring this planet together in a way that we've all dreamed of. Well, most of us anyway have dreamed of. Well, many of us. I can't say most. Let me just speak for the people.
Let's just speak for me.
All right, I'm speaking for Cole's sovereign self. Let's get this planet to where where shit's easy, man, so that we can have fun and flow.
And it's knowing that things can come with ease. That doesn't mean that it is absent of work or challenge. And I think that that's one of the things that people have really attached as a rule, that in order for something to be worth it, it had to have been hard. Yeah. You had to have earned it. You had to have worked for it. So this is an invitation to have ease even in the challenge. And we've said it on here before, asking yourself, am I making this easy or am I making this hard? That includes a relationship, if you're in one that you feel like you do enjoy or you used to enjoy, asking yourself that question. You know, maybe you had your partner bring you a drink and that's not the one you wanted and you got stank about it, or you felt like they didn't really know me.
Or you just drank it and you didn't like it.
Or out of guilt, right? Because they did something nice. Like, all of these are for you to consider. So have you considered it?
Yeah. And, if you haven't checked out that webinar, talkhole.com /racism.
And we will offer a discount code for anyone on the podcast. We'll give you half off, man. If you want to go check it out, it is absolutely worth it. Plus you get the slides, the MP3, the transcriptions, all that stuff. So all you'll have to do is type in discount code SOULFAM, SOULFAM, and that'll give you half off.
That's awesome. Oh, you're generous.
I am generous. I'm feeling very generous today. A good thing it's today. Tomorrow it might be different.
If I put in Soul Fam on a text message, will you take half your clothes off?
I only have half my clothes on. I'm not wearing
exactly.
pants.
That's right. So take the other half off. You're clever. Soul Fam it is. So we get naked, y'all.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to rate,
review, subscribe, share
it with a friend, y'all. And if you're not following us on Instagram, I officially left Facebook. I am no longer participating via Facebook. So you can hit us up on Instagram at Tahkole, TAHKOLE. Check out that episode on racism with Mike Dillard on the Mike Dillard podcast. Absolutely worth your time. And until next time, we love you so much. My name is Cole.
My name is Ta.
This is Mentor
in the Mirror podcast. Be free.